Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to my channel. Remember, I made a video talking about my insights into what I'll be sharing on this platform. Okay, so now this is our first video, and it is something that is fundamental. It's a fundamental skill that every medical professional must master, like they should master it, and that is taking patient history, or also known as anamnesis. In Portuguese, we call it anamnese. So I think I forgot to share with you guys that I'm a Nigerian studying medicine in Brazil. So like I am studying it in Portuguese, everything in Portuguese. Everything I'll be sharing here today, I learned it Portuguese, and I'll be sharing with you guys in English. So let's go. So first of all, I'll start with the composition of anamnesis. Forgive the person that is going up and down. Yeah, it's my mom behind the camera. So there are actually like four sections in anamnesis in patient history. And the first one, which is very important, is identification. So in this segment, you're going to be asking the patient of his or her personal information. For example, like his name, his age, religion, occupation, address, like personal information like this, you're going to be asking the patient. And the second one is the main complaint. Here, you'll be inquiring of the patient of, okay, guys, I decided to sit down because someone who was supposed to be recording for me left. Oh, I need a professional person. Just kidding. But yeah, I tried to sit down. And okay, let's go to what matters. So we're talking about the main complaint, which is the second part of patient history. And here you inquire about the reason behind the patient's visit. Like for example, we ask, okay, what brought you here today? Can you tell me what brought you here today? And patient will respond. You have to note that here, when you'll be writing it, transcribing everything that the patient tells you, you have to write it in the patient's wording, like word for word. You cannot add your own like vocabulary, word, or expression. No, you have to write it the way the patient said. For example, if we came and said that, okay, like I fell while walking, or I suddenly fainted, you write suddenly fainted. I suddenly fainted. Like you write it the way the patient actually spoke it to you. So, and the third part of this patient history is of taking the anamnesis is history of current illness. Yeah, you can write. Feel free to write in medical terms. Feel free to write in medical terms. Here you're going to be detailing chronologically the symptoms of the main complaint. For example, the patient said that, okay, I had an headache. So you will be asking the patient, okay, what were you doing? What happened? What preceded the headache? You ask question like this, like exacerbating or worsening factors. You also like investigate the symptoms, like the location, the origin, radiation if it's in pain, intensity. So while you are asking, especially when it has to do with pain, we actually ask the patient that, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the pain. And patient can actually say, okay, like an 8 or 9. Some people say 100 over 10, but we actually just write it as 10, like the highest. So just to know what the patient is feeling. You will also be asking about the sensations and other associated symptoms. Okay, you had a headache, were you vomiting? No, you won't like put the words in the patient's mouth. You just like ask, like, are there any symptoms you felt along with what you were feeling at that time? And patient may continue and say, oh yes, I felt this, I felt that. Like This is basically what is in the history of current illness. We're actually looking to find out more about the current condition of the patient. So the fourth on the list is we're going to be interrogating various devices and systems. So yeah, it is kind of different because you're going to be exploring potential issues that the patient may have experienced or may not have communicated to you. So you're going to ask general symptoms of, like, for example, do you experience weight loss, loss of appetite, like hair loss, fatigue, like tiredness, like things like that. You ask the patient, and then you can go into various systems to be asking. For example, we have the head and neck, we have the cardiology, gynecology, we have the questions on the nervous system, urinary, digestive, like so on and so forth. There are so many questions based on system that you can ask the patient. But like what I do is that I just focus on like the main complaints of the patient, like what the patient actually told me. Okay, he said he had an headache, or he said he felt a chest pain. So I'm going to just focus on that region, like focus on, okay, it's a chest pain, I'll focus on everything that has it in the chest, the lungs, the heart. So I'll be asking cardiology, respiratory questions, and I may also go and ask of digestive, because some it may be an irradiation that person is feeling in the chest. So I'll ask of the digestive, urinary, like the region and all the region that are like close by. So that's how I take my patient history, because we actually don't have, we can't be asking all questions on all the systems of the body. There's so many. I think there is a manual for this anamnesis, and it's actually like 4 pages. I think it's a lot of questions that you can do, like take out whatever the patient says, because I don't even know all the questions in my head. I just remember a few. And yeah, so like that's what you do. The next thing is that the next section you talk about like progressing morbid history. Yeah, you're going to be asking about the patient's medical history, including childhood diseases. We're talking about previous conditions that the patient may have experienced. Like, oh, son is troubling my video. Son, please go. Like previous condition that the patient may have experienced, will be asking question of trauma, if he was ever involved in accidents, surgeries, any surgery may have had, hospitalization, reaction of vaccination. Vaccination is actually important because we came out recently from the pandemic, and there is still spikes of COVID in some countries all over the world, in some parts of the world. So we have to know and ask the patient if he or she has his vaccination updated of COVID and of other. For example, if they are children, we have to ask the parents if they have taken like all the necessary vaccination that they need to. We also have if of allergies. Allergy is important. Like my professor is always stressing it. Ask if the person is allergic to any medication, food, dust, like anything. Just ask, ask, and also you ask of blood transfusion. Blood transfusion is actually also very important. You ask if the person has ever donated blood or has received blood donation. So, like, this is what you ask in the progressing morbid history. So we have like the sixth, which is the physiological and psychological aspect. So yeah, you're going to like probe into the person physiological, psychological aspect. You inquire about the patient medical history, if the patient is a woman. You ask about usual social life and sexual life. It's important because there are some symptoms that the patient may be manifesting that is due to sexually transmitted disease. So you have to ask, you may be asking the patient if these are partners, or if the person is is protecting like self during sexual intercourse. Even though I used to avoid this question, but yeah, reacts. It's good to have reacts of the patient's habits. Like, okay, what type of food? Yeah, good. Food is also important. Like the food, like is our diet meal, is it balanced? Some most people know. I'm talking about most people. Myself, I am more on the junk side. I know it's not good. I'll change. But yeah, you ask of the patient's habits. You also ask of his lifestyle choices. For example, what do you like to do? How do you spend your time? Like, are you sedentary or are you more of an active person? And next, we have to ask of the patient recent trip. Any recent trip he or she may have taken. Oh, it is really important because there are some location and places the patient may have been in the last month, last week, the day before, that is endemic to a particular disease, and he or she may be manifesting it without knowing that he contacted or she contacted during the trip that he went. So, asking of the trip and the location, not only that do you go on a recent trip, but asking, okay, where did you go? Where? So, and you also ask of like if the patient has a social or family support. It is uh, important also. It is important to act. Occupation. Occupation is also very important. It is very important because there are some jobs that some like for okay. Let me put it this way. If, for example, if the patient is a construction worker or someone that works in a laboratory, he or she may have contacted a disease unknowingly. Or if the patient is a construction worker and complains of respiratory symptoms, I'll be like, okay, it's a construction worker. It may have come in contact with dust, with so many things that may have provoked maybe or she has asthma or things like that. But the occupation that the person does is actually important. And all the relevant details that we also need to ask of the patient, which are like super duper 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 important. My script is showing, right? Okay. On to the next one, which is the last, but not the least. It is not the least. And it is our family history. Okay, but why do I need to ask of the patient family history? I don't think it's important. Yes, it is. What the patient's experiencing is hereditary. Or if it's a non-communicable disease or a communicable disease that spread in his community or family. And if it's an hereditary uh, disease, for example, I may have seen patients who their parents had diabetes, had cancers, like they say, like first generation, second generation had a particular uh, disease, and it is very likely that the patient may have. So that's the reason why we have to know of the patient's family history. We ask of the patient's parents, are the parents alive or are they dead? If they are dead, at what age did they die and what is the cause of the death? So these are questions they are of utmost importance. We have to ask them. And also, back to the patient, we have to ask of the circumstances surrounding the patient birth. Okay, while he was a baby, you ask the patient, were you nursed as a child? How was your delivery? Was it a vaginal delivery or was it cesarean? Was it cesarean? And we also ask of any significant events surrounding that may be important for us to know surrounding the birth of the patient. For example, um, you may meet a patient I've never met that says that okay, I was actually giving birth to on the way to the hospital. Like they may be important. We don't know why, but I don't know why yet. But they are actually important for us to ask. Super duper important. But all of these are important for us to ask because they can help to provide a more accurate um, diagnosis. And that is what we hope to achieve by collecting all of this information, both personal and non personal. So now I already explained to you guys um, the composition of a patient history. Now, how about I talk to you guys? I teach you of how to take a patient history. Mm. So let's dive into the first one. Number one point, very important, is greetings and introduction. You have to introduce yourself. Okay, greet because it's polite. Hello, good afternoon, good day, good morning, good night. Great. How are you doing? Great. The next is don't forget to introduce yourself. Don't be like me. Oh my god, I forgot. There was a time I forgot. I hope none of my teachers see these videos ever. There was a time I forgot to introduce myself. I didn't remember at the time. I didn't even remember while speaking to the patient. It was while I was reading my report to my professor that I was like, in my head I was like, gosh, I forgot. And like he does this, that he will go and check on the patient, see if what we wrote is actually true or not. So I was like, gosh, I have to run quickly and tell the patient, I like act and reintroduce myself, that I don't know, maybe you remember me, I'm Esther, like, so that the patient will know. Like uh, after that, I promise I didn't forget to introduce myself. All what I just did was I would like to ask you some question. I forgot to tell my name because I'm wearing a lab coat, so my name is already written. I don't know. I guess I forgot, or I was in a rush. I can't remember what I was thinking at that time. But guys, do not forget. Some of my other mates have forgotten to. Please do not forget to introduce yourself. So introduce yourself and also clarify that you are a medical student. At that time, I was a second year medical student, but now I'll be entering into my third year. So when I'll be talking to a patient, I'm telling them I'm a third year medical student. Okay, why do I need to clarify? Because first of all, remember, medical students, you're not yet a doctor. And okay, yeah, maybe we know our place, but the patient may not know the place where we belong, and they may be creating expectation or wanting to be asking question and pressuring, okay, what's wrong with me, I need to find out. No, please, I am a medical student, I'm still learning, I'm just here to take your medical history. Yeah, so clarify, make sure you clarify. And two, communicate the duration. Please communicate, let the patient know that okay, it's going to be like an interview. It is actually an interview, and it can take a while. It can take a while. So I ask for your patience and understanding because I really need to collect your history and to help provide a better diagnosis. So like clarify and tell the patient. Although we cannot estimate how long it will last. Can 45, 1 hour minimum, depending. Like at our stage here, I think I was practically an hour that I used to take an history. So yeah. So just like talk to the patient and tell the person it may take a while. Do you agree? Do you wish to continue? And the third one, well, this is super important, duper duper, and is avoid yes or no questions. Let me tell you something. You could you could allow them. The patient will answer question more than yes or no. Yes, no. Well, there are some that like to talk. There are some that like to talk. There are some that like to talk. You know, I think I'm blessed being here in Brazil because like Brazilians, they're very nice people and they're very outspoken. So they talk a lot. They will speak to you, they will converse. They won't just meet you for the first time. They will talk to you. So it's good for taking medical issue. But you may be in another part of the world where people are more, you know, reserved. So just know, guys, it's better. It's better to ask open-ended questions. Like there are some cases where you need to ask yes or no questions. But try to get more information, you need to ask open-ended questions. For example, instead of asking, did you have an headache? Person to ask, yes, I had. That's all. But instead, like ask the patient, please can you describe the symptoms you were feeling at that time? What was the sensation you were feeling? Was it an headache? If it was, can you tell me? Um, specify the location. Was he in the frontal part? Of course, I only use frontal part because they don't know what frontal, temporal, or parietal. Like I'll just like using my hand to describe the location that they felt easier at the base of the head. Like where did you feel the pain? Like just you have to ask the patient in a way that he or she will be able to provide further information. And talking about that, we also have two more, which are duper important. I know I say super duper a lot. I love the word, please. And that is, oh, easy. You want me slant? I can actually do slant. Be serious. There are two very important things. The last two that I'll be talking about for today is first, everything is relevant. Nothing, absolutely nothing of the information that the patient provides is irrelevant. So please don't discard anything as, oh, discard. I said discard. Pardon. This anything as irrelevant. Oh, I don't think it's useful. Like it actually happened to me before. That I didn't write any information that the patient gave me. Like I actually didn't do it on purpose. I was in a rush. I was running against time because I had to deliver the anamnesis. I didn't want to get zero. So like I was rushing to write it because I had to go and print it out. And I omitted some things. I said that okay, I think I'm going to leave this out. And it was actually important because while I was discussing it with my professor, he was asking that wait, isn't the patient supposed to have somebody that has this type of this particular condition? He or she's supposed to experience this and this and this. And when I went to go and check like my notes, my rough like work notes that I made, I saw that I wrote it there, but I didn't write it in like in the in the report. And since then, I made sure that I will not omit any information out because they're important. Every detail, every however minor mistake, they can contribute significantly to diagnosis. And at times, we need to be attentive because at times that main complaint of the patient may actually be a symptom of an underlying issue. So we have to, in Portuguese, they say presta atenção. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention to that. And the last but not the least, please, please, and please avoid medical terminology. I'm a type of person that I speak in the simplest way. I do not use big grammar, especially grammar that I do not understand. Despite speaking English all of my life, I do not use big words. But there are some people who love to impress and end up I've seen some using medical terms and patients is like, please avoid it. We can't be doing that. We have to understand that we are dealing with people from different walks of life, from different educational backgrounds. Some are actually educated but not medically educated. So we have to use words that everyone can, like universal word that everyone can understand. when they hear. So use it. But when we are writing the report, okay, yes, we can write it down using our medical terms. And remember, in the patient history, there was only a part that I said we have to write um, the words using the we have to write it in the patient words, and that was the main complaint. The rest, feel free to use the medical terms. And it is actually important to avoid confusion, because if patient is confused, doesn't understand, and he says something that wasn't or he thought you meant, we can bring about a poor diagnosis. We have to remember that all of this information that we're collecting is to provide a better and accurate diagnosis. So that's all, guys. So, like, when you incorporate all of these practices into your interactions with the patient, it will help you, it will lead to better understanding, better communication, and ultimately, like I said, is to contribute to an accurate diagnosis. And that is what we want. So, guys, that was all for today. I think I talked a lot, but it was actually fun for me to share everything that I learned in medical school. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. So, bye.